not what I'm doing. Morgan. Can I change that? Ah, there we go. All right, we are making an app to collect evidence for I'll collect reviews. We'll talk more about what that means in a second. All right. Here we go. All right, let me know if you can hear me on the audio, folks. All right. So what we're going to build today with not very much time. Let me see how much time I actually have. I have an hour. So an hour, what I have is what I'm interested in doing is building a site that makes it easy to collect feedback from people reviewing my app, my book. So basically, I just released Laravel up and running, and I'm getting a lot of interesting feedback from folks. What I'd like to do is, when I'm getting all these messages from people, um, for example, let's just find one of them. This right here, just a picture. But I'd like to be able to collect that, and then what else is there? This is why I don't use the web interface. This is crazy. What am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Stuff get out of my face. I just want the ones that. Anyway, basically, when people say, I've been reading this book, it's absolutely fantastic, I really like it, blah, 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 because of course everyone loves it. It's just the best thing in the place. Louder, please. Every time there's something with this stupid thing. Every dang time. All right, let's bump it up a little bit. Bump, 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 bump. Pump it up, pump it up, pump, 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 pump. All right, is that any better? Pump, 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 pump. Okay, switch the webcam. Yeah, I'm hearing y'all. Skype webcam, come on. There we go. That should be the one. That's going to be a little bit too loud. Okay. Once you hit this point, tell me if it worked out okay. Every time it's something with the audio. I thought I had it set up. All right, there we go, much better. Okay, cool. So I'm trying to find when somebody says something good. Here we go. Okay, this is nice, right? It's a cool looking book, but the content is even better. It's going well. Good to see you all. I'm a little sick, so sorry for the nasaliness. Life's busy. It's busier than I should even spend time on a Twitch stream for an hour, but I really wanted to collect this information. Problem is when you get feedback from people on something like this, whether it's your talk or, whether it's a talk or, how do I ignore a phone call? If I hit the power button, does it ignore it? There you go. So when you give a talk or you release a book or something like that, you get a lot of feedback on Twitter immediately, and then soon after that, it just kind of disappears down the edge of your time stream, and then you don't hear about it again. So what I wanted to do is, when I'm talking, and then also, who are you? What are you talking about? Get off my whatever. When you are, wait, are you giving me crap about selling my book? Because if you are, get out of my face. Okay, moving on. When you have something like this that is time sensitive, you get the quick responses to the thing, and the quick responses disappear off your timeline after a very quick amount of time, and you want to have them for later. So the program we are doing today is we're going to build something that makes it possible for me to collect these things. That's what we're programming. So I'm going to name it Evidence, just because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on this call coming up with a clever name. So let's spin it up. And the things we're going to do for evidence right now are we're going to make it possible to collect evidence for the quality of a thing. So right now it's just going to be good for the specific use of this book, but later I probably get out of my face. Okay, cool. Um, uh, Later, I'd like for it to be useful for collecting quality on other things. We're planning on Symposium, which is an app for um, keeping track of your information about your conference talks. We want to add the ability to collect evidence here. So I don't really want a separate app for people collecting evidence about the quality of their conference talks because I just want it to live in Symposium. But I think that this hopefully will be an inspiration for that. So the primary things that I want are tweets, quotes, reviews, and links. So we basically have 4 types of things. So let's kind of open this up real quick. We'll just do this in routes. So the things I want to do. So by the way, it seems like every single time I'm streaming, I'm doing something new. For a while, I was doing Vim. And so I was slow because of that. I actually have paused on Vim for a while until I can get back into programming a lot. But I'm now using a new keyboard. I'm using the Microsoft Sculpt. So once again, I'm basically acting as if I don't even remotely know how to write. So it's lots of fun looking like I'm 5 again. All right, so what are the things we want to track? We want to track tweets. Maybe separately tweet pictures, because we might want to pull pictures and media separately, but for right now we won't. And then we want direct quotes, which is basically just going to be like text, and then like author, and then probably like a link or something like that. And then so this is basically like a tweet link, and that's basically it. We might kind of also cache the tweet text. And then there's a link. And so when I'm imagining a link, I'm thinking about something along the lines of like somebody wrote a blog post referencing it. And so we want like the title of the blog post. And what I'd love is something like Tumblr where we're able to like select a certain amount of the text of it and kind of like highlight that. So I want to call it like highlight or something like that. And then maybe author, I'm not sure. And then finally a review. And this is where somebody does like an Amazon review or something like that. I want to pull those into here. Even though they already exist in Amazon, I want to pull them into here as well. If you're after a good guide on how to do the live streaming of tweets for real-time updates, look here. Okay, thanks. I've done that a couple times, but I don't want to be live streaming right now because right now those types of things usually are based on streaming it either based on dumping a whole bunch of stuff into an admin panel where you have to check them off, or dumping a bunch of stuff based on like a hashtag. For me right now, this is purely manual. I want to filter the things that I'm interested in actually putting in here and dumping them in there. But thank you. And yeah, we actually built an app at Titan where it basically was a Twitter and other thing aggregator, Twitter and RSS, and a couple thing aggregator. So that's been my life for a while. We're building another one right now. So, all right, a review would be something like source, Amazon, etc. Original URL, and then of course content and author, something like that. So I'm not sure exactly what it's going to end up looking like, but basically we want to build the UI to allow people to put this information into a database. And for me, the most important thing here is make the shape for the data and make the simplest, ugliest, nastiest possible box that allows people to enter this information in. And a lot of people will push back and say, well, why don't you make it beautiful? You talk about jobs to be done. I get it, but I've got an hour. I don't even have an hour anymore. I have 15 minutes. And in 15 minutes, I would love to get to the point where I can put this thing online, and when all these tweets come in between now and when I'm able to work on this app again, I can at least be getting the data in there. And later I can make the data entry easier, and later I can make it show the information better. But for right now, I just need a place to dump all this, and I'd rather not just paste all of it into a thing. Yeah, I was thinking about a rating. The problem is everybody has different systems. But we can maybe say rating out of 5, and then we can normalize it or something like that. So, by the way, Just Murphy, you can heckle all you want. I like hecklers, so as long as they have a good sense of humor. I meant to say that. So what are the things we need to do in order to make this happen? Well, we need a basic data structure. And the problem is, normally when I do these streams, I've been thinking about the thing for like a week. I just came up with this thing right now, so who knows how this is going to go. So we're definitely going to have a rating, a review, right, as a concept. And then the question is it going to be one of these like, there's 5 different types that all extend the parent type, like there's a Twitter review, and then a whatever else review, and a whatever else review, and a whatever else review. Or is there going to be a single database, table that is supposed to capture all this information. So then when you're looking at these questions and you have to ask yourself, and I'm thinking out loud, by the way, I'm not teaching you, I'm processing myself. So what things do we have consistently? We have a link very consistently. We have text very consistently. We've got some kind of plain text authored field pretty consistently. So let's think about if we were to make it a single database table, what would it have? It would have link, author, text. That's actually kind of it. And then the ones we're missing there are potentially attachments and source and rating. So, and the fact that in a link, it's really the highlight, not the text, the whole text of the link, which I don't mind that being. So right now, we're going to build it as a single table just to keep things simple, and then we can extract it out later depending on what we're doing. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, is the images will be attachments rather than an actual field. So for now, we're going to build it as a review table with a type, and the type will basically be tweet, quote, link, review. And then later we may end up deciding to move it out to a separate database table. But for now, we'll keep it like this. Okay. So we're going to, oops, why is that not working? Something is blocking text expander. What is blocking text expander? I don't even know how to work without text expander. What's going on here, people? Give me just a second. Secure input prevents expansion. Okay. Secure input where? By Google Chrome. Somewhere in Google Chrome, I'm apparently typing something securely, and that is forcing text expander to not work, which I don't like. Well. All right. I'm trying to remember I think the new one is this, which is you do make model and then dash dash migration. So review, I think that's how it works. Let's see if that actually works. There we go. Okay. Matt's World slowly. That's pretty much the story of every live stream. It's basically just watch Matt's World fall apart live on the internet. All right. So what are the things we said we wanted? We want a link. Table, string, author. Not worried about normalizing that or anything like that. And then table, forget what it's actually called. I'm going to call it text for now. Text, and then table. Technically this should be an enum, but I don't actually really like enums because they almost always bite you. So we're just going to call it type for now. And we'll learn whether text is actually the right one. All right, so since we used Lambo, you can see we already have a database named evidence, although I have not set it up to actually spin it up. So I'm going to go to SQL Pro, and then I'm going to make a new database named, evidence. Okay, there we go. Migrate it. All right, I guess that was correct. So let's get out of here. All right, so what do we want to? Hey, Mr. Bagwa. So what basic things do we want to be able to do? Well, we want to be able to do reviews, create, and then we want to be able to post to it. Nope, this keyboard is killing me. All right, cool. So, I actually want to be able to use controller stuff, so let's make a controller. Y'all don't know how not having text expander working is killing me. Reviews, controller. How's that fine country living today? I don't know if you're asking me or somebody else, but the fine country living today is fine. Trump is still the president-elect, so it's kind of a hellhole, and it's dreary, but it's not too hot and not too cold, which I'm happy about. We have finally hit fall in Florida, autumn, which means the leaves are finally changing, which, if you notice, that's December 1st. Leaves are finally changing. It was 82 yesterday, 82 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is Celsius. Somebody else can tell you. So kind of crazy town. But yeah, other than that, everything's fine. I love my family, my friends, and I got some new decorations in my office. There's no such thing as too soon. Trump is awful all the time. So, okay. Reviews controller. Did I actually hit enter or did I just blab? Okay, hit enter. I guess there's not actually anything of use in there. All right. This one was store, and this one's create. All right. Freezing over the pond here. Freezing over the pond. Oh, silent showers. Jeez, they're the worst. At least be. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go on a political rant at the moment. Okay, so what do we have? We have these. That's what I wanted to save them for, and of course now they're not there anymore. Use / create reviews controller at create. Post reviews at store. Okay, cool. So what do we want to do? We want to return a view that is the reviews.create view. And then here we want to validate the request against some rules. And then view create from request. Do all for now and change it to only in a second. And then return a redirect back. Actually, we'll just do a redirect to the home. And then the home will just list all the reviews. Oh my gosh, this keyboard. Basically, this keyboard has a whole row of like delete and insert keys above the arrows, and I'm used to the arrows being right in line with the numbers, I think it is, on the default Mac keyboard. So I basically constantly, like, I'm getting the letters in the right space in my brain, but now these things are never in the right space. So, all right, so let's take a look at that. Okay, this is good. Okay, u.php. So what are our actual fields there? Let's make them fillable. Never remember whether fillable is public or private. Protected. The one I didn't guess. Protected, fillable. This keyboard. Okay, so link, author, text, type. We're just going to do that for now. All right, so in the, what is this? Resources, views. Oh, we got to make there. Reviews, resources, views, reviews, create. Why did that not work? What did I do wrong? Resources, views. This Vim mode, I can never figure out which things it's actually going to work for or not. Reviews. I thought for sure I've done both of those before. All right. Folks in the app like to ask questions. I'm mostly going to do unfillable and use Garthy. Yeah. I definitely do that sometimes. Wrists will thank you down the road. Yeah, using the sculpt. Yeah. I hate being sick. All right. So let's do layouts. Don't want to waste too much time on this. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's just make auth. Why not? Even if we don't use it all right now, we're going to use it as the foundation anyway. And then home is our foundation for what Create's going to look like, because we're just going to use basic Bootstrap. Now we've got our layout set up here. Oh yeah, a new app, config app. And then we got to set up the app name, which is for now events. Okay, cool. Anything else we care about? I'm building something to collect evidence for the quality of my book at the moment, and later it'll be the quality of other things. Okay, so what do we in the create? You got yours logged in. I'm not actually going to use panels right now, so let's just drop this. So what is this going to be? This is going to be a form. Add a review. All right, so we got a CSRF field. So what do we want? We want basically the 4 fields that we actually care about: link, author, text type. And can we, with just those 4 as simple fields, get everything we need to collect the most basic information about these? We'll process them differently. Object model, like if you have more books, review must review. Yeah, definitely. Right now, interesting. Well, I'm not sure. That's like multi-tenancy, and I don't know if it's worth spending the time. That's a good question, though. Let's just build this for right now and associate with the same thing. And then the good thing about this is it's not live, so we can just delete all the data and even just rework the migrations. Oh, not having text expander is killing me right now. Input type equals text, name equals link. So we're just going to do this for all of them right now. Author, and then we'll actually adjust it to be something more reasonable shortly. Text type. Of course, text is going to be a text area. Let's just see if we can get this thing working right now. Okay, so form target equals it's not target, it's action. All right. Is that what are we missing? Oh, validation, right. All right, so link required, author is not necessarily required because if it's a tweet. Same for the text. Type is required. Okay. And then just to keep it nice and safe, we'll be more explicit here. Use that same list. All right, so again, this is the kind of the gross, janky way to do it, because forcing 4 very kind of distinct things into the same data structure is awkward. But again, it's just fast, right? This is a way for us to get something that we can enter data in and then iterate on it. And these are going to look ugly because, you know, we're not using the things, whatever. I just want to get enough information for us to prove that the actual code is functioning, and then we'll work from there about how we actually want it to work. So you don't spend a whole bunch of time on pieces that you're not sure about. So you need to start one way or another. You need to either start with understanding and if you've ever kind of heard my talk about quick Laravel apps, this is the same thing here. You either need to understand exactly the flow you want your users to walk through and like build the UI for that and then make the UI work functionally, which is usually the best way, and it's usually how we work at Titan. Or if you're doing it like this, where it's just like kind of want the build, yeah, exactly, build the project, polish it later. If you just want to basically get the thing functioning in a minimal amount of time and you don't know if you have time for polish, then this is the way to do it. The problem is developers tend to do it the way I'm doing it right now and then never go back and polish. So this is not the way to build kind of client-facing apps. This is not the way to build software as a service. But when you've got an hour and you need something that works at the end of the hour, this is the way to do it. So yeah, it'll always be up on YouTube. Um, placeholder, yeah, placeholder for inputs, text area for text. That's all coming in a bit. Good reminder though. Okay, so this is text, and this is type, and type has to be a drop down. So we at least have to do that. See you later. Thanks for hanging out. Select name equals type. Combination of new keyboard and note text expander. I feel like. I feel like an idiot here. All right, option value equals. What are our types? Tweet. Review. Link. I know I typoed on review. And gosh, what was the other one? Quote. I feel like a noob. That's exactly what I feel like. So the funny thing is, doing stuff like this is basically just live coding. Everyone talks about don't live code on your talks. I live code every time I Twitch program, and it's crazy because all the reasons you shouldn't live code in your talks are evident here. You forget things. There's this kind of sense of pressure that, like, you know how like you coding really great, and then somebody starts watching over your shoulder, and then all of a sudden it's awful. Well, I have all of you watching over my shoulder, but then also everybody who watches this on YouTube later watching over my shoulder. So I get like nervous and stressed, and even though I know I shouldn't be, it's just something I don't know how to make not happen. And so it's really the most unproductive coding I've ever done in my life, but it's fun, so I do it anyway. There we go. It's so much better. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So this is going to be /review/create. View controller, because it's reviews controller. Yeah, pair programming makes a little more sense because you're kind of both in it and there's only two of you. It still is a little bit slower, but I love pair programming. I think it's friggin' fantastic. But for some reason, there's a difference. The field is like a difference between pair programming and just programming while somebody's watching you. All right, so we need to show errors. And I don't have my errors snippet because Text Expander is not working. I don't feel like writing it from scratch every time. Excuse me. Yeah, definitely. All right, the link field is required, the text field is required. Fantastic. So actually, text field should not be required. Really, nothing but link can be required because let's go for our tweet, right? This is the one we want to save as our first one. So link, add. All right, and it reviews you back. It actually shouldn't send you back. It should send you back to /reviews. So let's go up at reviews. Let's see if we, keyboard. Do we have a review? Okay. Where did I do here? Nope, I didn't actually program the reviews route. There we go. We are now successfully storing tweets that reference the thing. So nothing else. We have that. So let's go to a review. Let's go to this one. Let's go to reviews. I love this one. The fact that only a few people have reviewed it here, and these early adopters who hadn't even read the book gave me these super negative reviews. Now I can never get away from those. So, all right, so let's grab this one. that Jason Yo / create. Come on. All right, so this is going to be. Is there a link to this review? I don't think you can link directly to a review, so let's just do this URL. I'm going to pick up text from the author from the tweet and include. Yeah, that's the hope. All right, link is that. And then here's the text. Interestingly, we don't have the ability to store these types of things, so I'm not sure. All right. Author is Dev Circus. Type is a review. Okay. Are those line breaks encoded in there somewhere? Oh, they're not because we didn't make it a text area. Okay, let's make it at least a text area. All right. There you go, line breaks. Okay, cool. Anchor tag. I'm not sure what you mean by anchor tag. All right, so we have the ability to, let me go drop that one real quick. Okay, so we got a tweet successfully saved with all the information we need out of it right now. We have a review successfully saved with all the information we need out of it now. Now let's go to Michael. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Michael Dorinda. Dorinda.com.au. And he wrote a review. Oh no, he didn't write a review yet. He's writing a review. Who wrote a review? Frick did. Anchor tag, add the hash to the end of the URL. Can you explain more? Are you talking about how to direct to that specific spot in the page? All right, things I learned from reading Laravel up and running. Okay, cool. So this one is starting to put some holes in what we have right now because I want some information on this that I don't have. So for example, I know this is, my gosh, I'm sorry. How do you spell your last name? Van de Herten. That's probably totally wrong. Freak van de Herten. Text. So the text was going to be the highlight, right? So let's find, something that we want to save. There you go. Let's say that's the thing I wanted to highlight. Okay, cool. There's probably some other stuff I would want on this. Probably want link to be not link, but instead something like blog review or something like that, because there might be another reason for link. I don't know. And then we could scrape the title, but you kind of want to put the title in there. And just if you've never used it before, I'm really imagining the post to Tumblr kind of bookmarklet as being the inspiration for this. So you want to be on this page and hit a bookmarklet and just have it kind of scrape all the information for you. So if you're imagining scraping, we should really have fields for anything that you'd imagine you want it to scrape. And so at this point, I probably would want the title. So now we're getting further and further away from this being a single database table that's capable of, collecting all this information, because we're adding more and more things that are going to be specific to one. Like we probably should add the source of a review, and that source won't be used on tweet. We probably should add the title, and the title won't be used on a tweet. So we're starting to see indications that maybe this might need to be more than one table. So let's just add those real quick. And again, split when time calls for it. And we might split on this stream, and we might not. So we need a source. We need a title. And so we need to add those here. And I should be using Bootstrap, but this is faster. So, and this is not what the UI is going to look like in the end, so I don't care. Okay, so what are we going to add? We're going to add a title. And a source. Sources for a review, so you can kind of differentiate Amazon reviews versus O'Reilly reviews and kind of group them together. Okay, so let's try this one again now. Can we capture everything we need? So we've got a link, we've got a title, we don't need a source, author, Freek van der Herten, was it? Herten. And again, I have no idea if I'm actually saying that correctly, so. I love hearing Americans try to pronounce his name because they're like, Freek? Is it Freek? And he's like, Freek. And I know I can't say it right, but I know I can at least say something other than Freek. And then let's grab our little highlight. And it was this one. Awesome, great. Sounds good, thank you. Type, link, add. Did it work? All right, field source does not have a default value. Let's get some nullables up in here. All right, so which of these are nullable? The link is nullable because it might be a quote. We haven't done a quote yet. Let's do a quote. The author is nullable. Text is nullable. Type is not nullable. Source is nullable. Title is nullable. All over the place. The break timer app is called thing I ignore when I'm on these calls. What is it called? Break time, maybe? Break time app. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay. So let's try that post again and see what we get. Field source doesn't have a default value. Oh, right. Roy. All right, looks like we have all the stuff here. So, are there any other types we haven't created a quote. Let's make sure you can successfully create a quote. So the quote would be, OMG, best book ever. Author would be Matt's mom, who doesn't even write Laravel, but loves Matt. Type would be a quote. The link field is required, but it should not be. This is why we test these things. And just FYI, if you're not, all right, I pronounced it right. Let's go. Pronounced it right. If you are not familiar with testing in TDD, every time I've tested a specific use case here, that's something that should be in our tests. So we should now go write a test that says, here's a quote. Make sure a quote works. Make sure it doesn't have any errors. Make sure it saves in the database correctly. Make sure this, so like these are our chances. So we're not going to do that yet because this is not what the actual UI is going to look like in the end. But these little tests that we're doing are basically our own hand-rolled tests. They're not actual tests, but this is basically like kind of, how do I know if the thing works? Well, if I do these things, then it works. All right, so let's try that again. OMG, best book ever. Matt's mom, who doesn't even write Laravel but loves Matt. Nope, come on. Type, quote, add. Okay, cool. So we're now able to accept reviews of every single sort at this point. So basically, like, this is doing its job. Of course, it is ugly, it is not secure, all that kind of stuff, but like, it's doing what it needs to do now. Like, I'm satisfied that if I had to stop at this point, I would be able to put this online and track all this information and later do something useful with it. So the problem is the next step is now much less simple. It's asking the questions of what should that database architecture really look like? What should the user interface look like when we have the ability to add these 4 different types of things? How are we going to allow you to attach reviews to multiple things? Are we going to allow multiple people to use this thing? And those things kind of are priority decisions that have a big impact on the next kind of steps in development. And I don't actually know, honestly. So why don't we commit it as it is? So this is going to be build basic ability to store reviews in the database. That's it. Oh, I didn't even create this yet. Create a new repository. Evidence, public. Now it's on the interwebs. We're going to use tab interface to have different form for every type. See, I was thinking about that, but what I mean, and so like again, that conversation about how to do that will probably take, first of all, just to do the rudimentary kind of version of that conversation. Sorry, medicine. Would take the next 20 minutes. But additionally, it's something where I would want to really kind of think through it a little more deeply. Like, what's the best way to approach it? So one of the things that I would probably end up doing is, like, my first thought is you can't enter any information until you choose the type. And the type is some kind of picker, and by default you'd say, well, it's a dropdown. Well, I don't know if dropdown's best. Tabs, I'm not sure if that's best. So some kind of, nice thing that makes it very clear to you. Question 1 is, what type of review do you want to add? And you hit it, and then based on that, you now get the actual kind of prompts for that specific one. So that would probably end up being some, little view component that has an individual component for the data entry for every single type of review, and then something up top that is checkboxes or radio buttons, not checkboxes, radio buttons or tabs or drop down or something like that lets you choose the type. When you choose the type, pops up a little thing for its thing, and then sends it in. And then additionally, you probably, hey Dan, you probably want to differentiate your validation rules depending on the type. Tabs is a nice idea, but the problem is, the problem is if you assume that, step back. What are the things that people think about when they see tabs or a drop down or whatever? What are the first places their brains look? What type of navigation and choice that are they expecting to be able to make? And tabs almost always get missed. People look for big fields first. They don't look for tabs first. And so tabs usually have to do with navigation or something like that. This is not navigation. When you're entering this thing, you're not going to be navigating from one to another. You're going to be choosing. So it's a choice. So tabs are out. So the next thing is it's a choice. So you might think drop down. The problem is drop downs don't surface the other options until you actually click the drop down. So people don't think that that is the primary thing. So usually you want the information big, significant, up top there. You go with this. Yeah, definitely going to be an Ajax form. All right, step-by-step wizard. One thing is it doesn't need to be multiple steps, right? So, yeah, I wouldn't do this. But thank you, though. But it is the same kind of idea where there's a single-page app here that surfaces basically the ability to do that. Yeah, so what I was saying earlier is it's going to be a view component. It's going to have a chooser at the top. The only thing you'll be allowed to do is a chooser. Like, there's this form library, or this form software as a service that a lot of people use for accepting applications for their talks. I think Laracon EU used it last year. Let's see if they still have it online. And if anything would be close to it, it would be that. But I don't remember if this is what they used, and I don't remember what the thing was. It's not this. It just might not exist anymore since it's... They're not accepting applications for speakers anymore. But anyway, if you've seen that, tell me. That's what it is. So anyway, this is the thing I was saying. This could basically end up consuming the whole time. I would love... There's an online whiteboard. Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm on a screen that you're not seeing, and no wonder you're asking things that I have just made really obvious on my other screen, because you don't see them. I can't believe I forgot that. Okay, cool. So you probably end up with something. Let's see what this is going to be like. Drawing with the touchpad. So it's probably going to be like something like this, like type question. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Give me my mouse. And there's basically going to be like a whole bunch of like options. And they're probably going to be big buttons or radios or something like that. And then once you click this one, then everything down here turns into your view component. And there's going to be a view component for every single one. And this is going to be the view component for this. So you said tweet, right? Well, then it's literally just going to be a tweet URL. I'm not going to write that all the way out. It's waste so much time. And then you hit submit. And that's the whole thing. So, type form, I think that might be it. Okay, so the thing you're missing here is tabs are a UI element that you have to spend time building. If you're going to spend time building something, do it right. The only reason you should ever make the decision of like, hey, it's really quick, it's going to be the fastest thing, whatever, is if you're trying to spit out just the basic functionality like we just did. We already have the basic functionality. Now we need to ask the questions about what's the actual best way to do it. There's no reason to spend time building out a fancy UI and then being lazy about the fancy UI. Either build a fantastic UI or build the crappiest UI ever. Don't build anything in between. Using tabs on this would be the in-between. It'd be wasting time building tabs components when it's not actually the right fit. All right, let's see if Typeform is it. I want to try an example. Yeah, Typeform is it. This is the one I was referencing. And so it's this kind of idea where like you don't actually see what's next. Well, this one's really short. You don't actually see what's next until it's time for what's next, right? So not exactly this, but the same kind of like you're seeing a little bit of time and then you go down to the next one. Okay, so that's what the next thing would be. I don't have time to build a whole view component for this right now, so that's not going to happen. So the next question is, let's say I actually want to put it online right now, which I do. Do we have time to scope these things by user so it's as all of a sudden a software as a service? And or, yeah, thank you. And or should we scope things by a reviewable object, like somebody suggested a little bit earlier? Let's, you know, what would be more useful right now when I put this online and y'all know the address? Well, no, because I don't have to tell you the address when I put it online. Okay, so let's scope it by object. So the simplest way to possibly scope it by object right now is just to give you a drop down of all the objects. And then again, it's not going to be our final UI, but why don't we just do that for now so that we add the ability for you to select what the thing is related to. So thing being reviewed, reviewee. That's what I'm going to call it. And then we're going to basically do this kind of thing. So option value equals reviewee. Oh my gosh, ID. And then reviewee. I don't know if it's a name or a title. Whatever, just gonna call it a name. All right, so let's make a reviewee. Oh, create reviewee. Okay. So what does reviewee have? It's got a name, I guess. Right? I don't think it really has anything else. Nope. And then the reviewee is going to have many reviews. Okay. Oh, fillable, right? Yeah. Reviewee is not a user. Reviewer is a user. Reviewee is something that is the recipient of a review. And in this context, the recipient of a review is the book, which is why Milosh was suggesting something like type. Do we care right now to differentiate them by type? Not right now. It's a good thought, but not for sure whether it's going to be a thing. So for right now, it's just going to do name, simplest. All right, and then review. And the reverse of it has many always throws me. I think it belongs to public function reviewee. And then this keyboard. The number of times somebody on YouTube is going to count the number of times I complain about this keyboard and then complain about it in a YouTube comment. I'm just telling you right now. Because like the reviewee is kind of a weird word, but otherwise it's object or object under review or something like that, and it becomes very clumsy. So as clumsy as this is, at least if you understand the English language, you understand EE on the end means the person who's the target of the verb. So review is a thing you do. So reviewee is the thing you do it to. So it's the thing under review. Belongs to. What did I do wrong? What did I actually do? Oh yeah, I got belongs to. Bam. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So what are we doing with reviewing now? We are going to pass to our create view That's not a word I'm used to typing. Oop. A link, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Employee is the best way to think about that. Well, hold off on link for just right now, but I agree. There's probably should be like a type. Because right now we don't actually, we don't actually have the way to show the reviews except for just in the link. So we'll hold off on that for a second, but yeah, that also needs to probably live there. Okay. So we're passing all the reviewees into reviewees, and then we're iterating over here, and it's got a name and an ID. So in theory, this should work, and there just should be none there right now. So let's take a look and see if that's actually the case. Also, let's route this to this keyboard. And then real quick, this JSON, let's instead return a view reviews.index, which is basically just gonna do the same thing, but give us a link to the create page too, so it's easier to get to it. All right, so, oh, no, just kidding. All right, so again, I'm not worried about the quality of this, just the absolute basic functionality. And then, did I reroute this already? Okay, I think I did. Okay, cool. We can split that out and make it look nice and good, but right now, create. All right, evidence.reviewees does not exist. I'm pretty sure that means we're missing a piece of relationship. Yeah, the reviewees table. Okay, so let's just migrate. I'm guessing there's going to have to be a foreign key that we add on one of these. Yeah, it's the thing. If you get stuck on those things, don't get stuck. So either really focus on styling and functionality and just do that really well, or focus on functionality and do that really well. But don't the jump back and forth between the two is what really kind of kills productivity. Okay, so I was just saying that one of our tables is going to need a foreign key relationship. It's going to be the review, because the review is going to have a table integer reviewee ID unsigned. I'm not going to worry about actually putting the foreign key in there right now. All right. So we should go here and just see nothing in the dropdown. There you go, perfect, nothing in the dropdown. All right, there you go. Thing being reviewed, Laravel up and running. Now, the reviews controller doesn't currently associate it. So interestingly, instead of reviewing create, we're now going to do reviewee, and we're going to have to do an exists in, but right now it's required, because I never remember the syntax for exists in and I'm out of time. I've got a meeting in 3 minutes. Exists in, and then reviewee equals review find or, no, reviewee find or fail this input reviewee, and then it's going to be reviewee reviews creates, and then it'll associate it with that particular review. So let's see if that actually works. Laravel up and running, and let's just do the quote from my mom again. All right, select name equals type. It should be reviewee. Thanks. This is what you guys are for. Do you even need ID, or doesn't it just automatically assume ID unless you say something? This is where tests would be good, because we could write a test to see whether it's actually working correctly. Oh well. Okay. OMG. Type quote add. Column not found. The review. Okay, see, you know what? I'm just going to pause this right now. That's what it is. Method input does not exist. This input is review input, or request, I mean. Looks like that worked. And does that have the review? If this worked, then we are done for the day. Review ID 1, bam! Bam! So now we can add that. We can say associate all reviews with the reviewee. And that's it. All right, that is it for today. Got to run off to my meeting in exactly 1 minute. Thank you for tuning in. Where's the camera? Camera's there. Thank you for tuning in. It was a pleasure. I'm sure you enjoyed watching me fumble and bumble. Let's fumble and bubble together some more, maybe next week. See y'all later.